look, it's the same guys as yesterday. It's fantastic. We're the PHNX Tailgate, brought to you by the lovely people at the DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's #1 sportsbook app. I don't have anything else clever. Let's run the intro. Saul Bookman, Marcos Deniza Padre, South Mountain Community College Cougar, and best of all, a Wildcat from the University of Arizona.
Johnny Venerable, Maricopa, Arizona. We have a Denny's and an IHOP.
Bo Brock, the Harvard of Maricopa County, Scottsdale Community College, Fighting Artichokes.
Shane Diefenbach, North Scottsdale Circus School of Arizona. Honk, honk.
Merry Christmas! That's the other thing that was going on. I don't know what I was thinking. Fantastic Christmas to you and all your loved ones. Hopefully, you guys are all circled around the tree with the laptop open watching us right now.
I stiff-arm my kids to be here, and I'm happy about it. Let's do this.
Hudson could tackle you.
He could. Yeah, he definitely could. But you know what? I'm going to victimize him and subject him to Arizona Cardinal football on Christmas later today.
Is that his goal?
Yes, that is his goal.
What your dad did to you, you're doing to your own. That's great.
Oh,
the tradition.
Watch Trace McSorley, son. This is how it's done.
This is America's game.
That's right.
Oh my gosh, I don't even know what to expect from today's game with the Bucks. But does it really matter as we get into the hangover? Because you're going to need a lot to drink today. I promise that, people. If you're going to try and suffer through this game. Listen, we wish we could just fast forward to the end of the season. I know this, but there's been so much going on. You know, our friend Derek Montilla did a fantastic little
Meetings of the mayor.
Meetings of the mayor, where he kind of broke down all the Valley sports teams and then kind of like committee style. And when they got to the Cardinals, he said, "Can you guys just stay out of the news just for like one day, please?" And they were just like, "No." And here we are again. Obviously on Friday, Kliff Kinsbury, big article comes out about not only him, but also the organization, and basically that Kliff Kingsbury's on borrowed time, for lack of a better word.
Yep.
You guys talked about it a lot on the Friday Cardinals show, but, after sitting on it for about 48 hours, how are we feeling about the state of the union that is the Arizona Cardinals? Or Johnny?
Yeah, it's a ticking time bomb with this organization. We cannot get to the offseason fast enough. And both somehow we still have 3 weeks left to go until January 9th, a.k.a. Black Monday. And I know fans, we're in this camp as well. We are fans of this team, want answers right now. And you're just not going to get it. And in the meantime, you're subjected, and unfortunately, Kliff Kingsbury is subjected to all of these reports. He loses his mentor in Mike Leach. He loses his franchise quarterback, right? There is speculation abound. He loses his GM to health concerns. He could potentially be fired at the end of the year. I think Kliff, he's making friends around the league, maybe not in Arizona, but the more he can try to keep it together, and if they have a good outing today, which is asking a lot, I think he's going to earn respect. But as far as like the Valley goes, they have moved off of Kliff Kingsbury, this regime, and they're ready for a fresh start.
And don't you feel, and we talked to one of the reporters from ESPN on Friday's show, Josh Weinfuss, who worked in collaboration with Jeremy Fowler on this really in-depth bombshell reporting article on the Cardinals. And it almost painted Kliff Kingsbury in the most positive light relative to this story, right? I mean, if you were to rank it, Steve Keim looks like trash. Michael Bidwell doesn't look great. And Kyler Murray sure as shit doesn't look good. But Kliff Kingsbury kind of looks like, hey, he's suffered through a lot of this. He's been a victim to a ton of this. Has he been the perfect coach? No, I see I'm losing one of my co-hosts over here. But, I mean, as far as this article goes, I think that it paints Kliff more in a victim's light than I think this fan base would like to hear. But as far as you said, ticking time bomb, I think this is more like your Christmas leftovers 2 weeks old, right? It's way past its expiration date. This Arizona Cardinals team is in line. They are posturing for a full reset, and that means new GM and new head coach, and then building around this franchise quarterback that you have settled in with for the next 6 years with his massive mega $1 million extension.
Before I rip into this, go ahead, Shane.
It's just from a fan's perspective. It's been so hard to put up with the highs and lows of this team. Last year, obviously the hot start, but then this year you didn't really get that, and the fans are kind of at their boiling point, and the organization feels it. We'll get into what can happen in the offseason later, but like, is there like a dream? Is there something that we're pushing for in the offseason?
Well, the tough part is it's like seeing your friend who's in a toxic relationship and they finally call it quits, right? But you find out that your friend's probably the most toxic one. And this organization, I think the fans have realized throughout this whole process, this 2022 season, which had expectations of returning to the postseason, an 11-win season, falling tremendously short of that. So the fact that they know, hey, this is a toxic culture or organization, I'll say, you can't get out of their own way, like on and off the field. Like you have to take pause. Like the grass isn't going to necessarily be greener on the other side, but just the fact that change is coming should have Cardinals fans feeling like this is a gift in a sense.
We have never seen the Arizona Cardinals be this dysfunctional off the field as much as they have been in this year. I don't think you can listen.
Under Michael Bidwell or ever?
Ever.
At least publicized.
Can you recall another time where you've had this much drama in such a small window of time? Really,
snowballing.
We're talking about the last 3 to 4 months.
Well, but what would you rather have? Would you rather have this dysfunction?
Yes,
or
because I want it smeared all over the media. I want people talking about it, so it forces change. And I think to your point, a lot of our relatives, people who grew up with this team, they didn't have this coverage back in the day, so this team wasn't held accountable. You need to be held accountable now. It's your dirty laundry's out there. You think Michael Bidwell wants this shit out there? Hell no. This is embarrassing.
What are you referring to, Bo? You think there's another time?
Well, no, I think that I would probably sign up for this, and it's like it's two shit sandwiches, right? But as far as one that you feel like there might be light at the end of the tunnel, it's under this ownership to where before it was just an owner that was stuck in his ways. And
sure, but we're talking about two different kinds of issues, right? We're talking about a lack of activity and trying to make your football team as great as possible, or a lack of institutional control and people getting in trouble, not only internally and with the NFL, but also with the law.
Yeah.
Like that's a whole nother different level.
Harassment of women.
And when we're talking about, a structure before Steve Keim, let's just say before Steve Keim, with Rod Graves and all the previous predecessors to Rod Graves, you didn't really hear or see this much, tomfoolery, if you will, right?
Sure.
Like just crazy shit going on week after week after week. Under Keim, in the last 8 to 10 years, you've had these instances every now and then that have happened, including himself getting in trouble with the DUI and stuff like that. Like, and as the flag bearer of the franchise outside of Michael Bidwell, you have to lead by example. And if you're constantly getting in trouble with the law, what the fuck does a player care about what you're going to say to him?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, bro, you've done worse. You know what I mean? So I think overall the entire thing just needs to be gutted. It needs to be gutted and stripped down to the studs. And I do believe in Michael Bidwell. I do. Whether I'm naive or not, I do feel like he's got the franchise's best interest in mind. Now he might be too trustworthy and might be too what do you call it? He might have too much faith in the guys that he's bringing in. But I think at the end of the day, he recognizes, okay, I let this go on for far too long. That's on me. But it's time to right the ship. $800 million in fired coaches and GMs right now across the NFL. As of right now,
get ready to add to that sucker.
And I mean, you could probably add another 50 to 100 on top of that if Michael Bidwell tries to make a move with Steve Keim and Kliff Kinsbury based on what kind of contracts they have left. Again, we're gonna go back to this. I don't know what was going on. I don't know. Listen, I don't know what Steve Keim and Kliff say, but we should all take notes on how they can negotiate themselves into such a phenomenal position time after time after time again. I don't get it. I don't understand it. And to your point, Bo, about to Johnny about Kliff Kinsbury, I think it was both of your points about Kliff Kinsbury being painted as like this victim, right? All I keep thinking about is if we had a coach like Mike Tomlin, if we had a coach like Sean Payton, does half the shit that's going on happen?
No.
Does the lack of does the chaos on the field? Because that's the thing. To me, there's no structure. There's no organization even on the field, and that's what bothers me the most. Is like it's just a clusterfuck at every level, and that needs to be fixed.
Go Go ahead.
No, I mean, everybody wants a Peyton and wants a Tomlin. And I think even the Steelers fan base loses sight about how good Tomlin has been during his tenure. But it's as far as this organization goes, Kliff Kinsbury, Michael Bidwell, Steve Keim, like this, it's just time to move on. And I think that's just what pretty much this article summarized and kind of validated all the things that we thought were going on, why they were having such a big issue, not only on the field but off the field. It's a lack of accountability. And I'll still go back to when they fired Steve Wilkes and Steve Keim and Michael Bidwell presented themselves as the brain trust, the power duo of this organization, and said, hey, we're going to hold ourselves responsible for this. We're going to hold ourselves accountable for this. We're going to look at ourselves in the mirror and diagnose what went wrong, how we went with the wrong guy, in our opinion. And then they went out and they had one of the most inexplicable hires in NFL history with a 35-40 college coach who failed at his alma mater. He was fired from his alma mater months before. He was the OC at USC, and the next thing you know, he's one of 32, which should be prestigious. In the Arizona Cardinals, they once again kind of dropped the ball, and it's really unfortunate. You know, the Peytons and the Tomlins, they just don't grow on trees. But here's the thing: Peyton's available. Now's the time to do whatever it takes to start making your moves for Sean Payton, because a coach of that caliber isn't available every offseason, especially when you have a coaching vacancy.
And we talk about it at nauseum on PHNX Cardinals. Producer Emma's put together a fantastic graphic, and it breaks down where we feel like there are going to be openings this offseason. And I'm sorry for the people who want to shit on this franchise. And again, it's easy. They're an easy target right now. Their head coach, their quarterback. Absolutely. But here's the thing. Sean Payton, if he wants to coach, Cardinals are still the best spot at the end of the day. They have Kyler Murray. It's on the West Coast. You want to go to Charlotte and coach that dumpster fire, right? You want to go to Houston? You want to, the Dallas Cowboys and the LA Chargers right now are winning games. So if that's not an option and Sean Payton really wants to coach, it's got to be Arizona. And to Bo's point, the biggest indictment to Michael Bidwell, as much as we're fans, may be yet to come. Because if it gets out that Sean Payton wants to coach and the Cardinals reach out and they either lowball him or things turn sour and he opts to go back into broadcasting instead of taking this opening kind of by default, that's going to be a horrendous look for this franchise.
Let me ask this. What's a worse look? Because in this report by Weinfuss and Fowler was that Kliff Kinsbury is so fed up with this that we talk about buyouts, that he could just say, thanks, but no thanks. I'm out of here.
That feels like Michael Bidwell
What's a bigger indictment on the
him to do
organization?
that.
Him saying, would you applaud Kliff Kinsbury for doing that? To have the conviction to just say, this ain't for me. It'd be a huge indictment on the organization that he's just like, fuck this, I'm out of here.
No, I think it's more of an indictment on Kliff Kinsbury that he couldn't stick it out and try to make it work at the NFL level, and especially after everybody's questioned whether or not he should even be an NFL head coach. Like player after player across the NFL landscape outside of the state of Arizona has always questioned whether Kliff Kinsbury should be the head coach. And they always talk about how elementary their offense is and how basic it is. And so how elementary everything really seems. So if Kliff Kinsbury quit, all they're going to say is, told you.
I mean, you see the success though last season, right? It is. And look, and I agree that he hasn't played the game of chess that you need to as an NFL head coach, but to try to make chicken shit, I can't talk for
You're getting choked up about Kliff.
Let me just clear my throat here. To make chicken salad out of chicken shit, like they coaxed Rodney Hudson out of retirement. He was never available the entire season. Justin Pugh was coaxed out of retirement. His entire offensive line hasn't been available the entire season.
I feel like there are two.
But the problem is, and this is where I'm going to go back to the Bruce Arians era, right? Mm-hmm. Bruce Arians was able to make chicken salad out of chicken shit a lot of times with some guys that you brought in that you hoped were going to, play at a higher level, even though they're at the end of their career. Carson Palmer thrived here. You had Abraham thrived here. You had guys that really had no business being in the league anymore, that somehow were thriving and found that fountain of youth or that streak, right? I think that model probably hurt them as they move forward because they tried to do that and piecemeal stuff with veterans that were kind of on the fringe of being out of the league to try and make things work, and it just has not worked under Kliff Kinsbury.
Let me push back a little bit because I think BA had a bigger hand as far as roster building back in those days than we give him credit for. And I think too much to Steve Keim. It's like, if Carson Palmer went down, they had Drew Stanton, and they had an offensive line where they had Mike Iupati, they had Jared Valdir, they had Lyle Sindeline, guys who were more than just serviceable offensive linemen and a very good defense. Like they had the no-fly zone and they had Calais Campbell. They just had a lot. They had just a lot more talent. It was just a deeper roster where I think Steve Keim, one, used Kyler Murray as a crutch as far as where this roster fell short, and then also what's true is Kliff Kinsbury can't elevate this roster at all. Like, and that's an indictment on Kliff.
Yeah, and I also feel like we're in a position right now where two things can be true. The Cardinals culture is broken and it needs rebuilt, and Kliff Kinsbury is not a good head coach. And I feel like too many people right now in the media are making it out to be like Kliff's above this. Like this, Kliff wants to get out of there because it's too toxic. I'm sorry. You were gifted Kyler Murray and Hollywood Brown and DeAndre Hopkins and Zach Ertz and James Conner. You wanted to re-sign AJ Green. You had all your pieces. This was year 4, Kliff, and the team was 4-8 before Kyler went down. And the offense took massive steps back. And people within the know, within this franchise, Shane, say the best head coach on the roster is not Kliff Kingsbury. It's Vance Joseph.
Plus, back to your point, Saul, about your Mike Tomlin's, like, great coaches don't let shit like that happen. The culture doesn't get toxic if the team, one, is winning. That can help. But two, if the coach has something to say about it. And watching it go by, I know the head coach doesn't have as much, leeway as an owner or a GM would, but you have to make sure that it doesn't get this bad, and it's gotten this bad, and now we're seeing the effects of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I know Sean Payton is on the wish list and the fantasy list of a lot of teams, including our own. But another fantasy you can partake in is the Underdog Fantasy app.
Beautiful.
Where you can have a good time. Johnny, tell them all about it.
I am all in on daily fantasy. I am off of year-long fantasy for reasons we're not going to discuss, but at least your boy doesn't have to go to Waffle House. But I am going to be dabbling daily on Underdog Fantasy, not only for the duration of the regular season, but hot damn, how about these postseason matchups that you can get on Underdog Fantasy? Hires and lowers for players. You can dabble. Here's what you can do. Get ready for the postseason while dabbling on the NBA, right? You can draft up to 6 players, no positional limits at all. Take all shooting guards. All you got to do, download the Underdog Fantasy app or check them out at underdogfantasy.com, whatever your preference is. But slam the promo code PHNX. That's PHNX and Underdog Fantasy. You're going to get a deposit match up to $100. Put in $100, boom, a free $100 to bet with via Underdog Fantasy at your disposal. There's never been a better time to get on daily fantasy with, again, the plethora of different options that they provide. It is way better than being stuck with the sorry old roster that you drafted back in August.
Cam Akers.
You don't do well on a given day, boom, refresh, start anew the next day. But the only way to do that, promo code PHNX, Underdog Fantasy, get in on the action today.
While you're sitting there watching all these games or watching tonight's game, you should be partaking in some delicious Four Peaks. It is the best beer in the valley, in the country. And you could just go to any of your local grocers and get this beloved franchise of a beer. You can get the Wild Wheat, you can get the Kilt Lifter. We've named them all by now. You missed out on the holiday cheer box. It was fantastic. We opened up the last one yesterday, which was amazing. You can always take advantage of Four Peaks on a daily basis. You don't have to wait for the holiday cheer box. There's always a delicious beverage just outside of arm's reach if you go to the grocery store. So there you go. Make sure you're 21 and over if you partake, and enjoy responsibly. Check out their pub on 8th Street. It's phenomenal. The chicken tendies have been a huge hit here in the building. And also you can get the Four Peaks style fries, which also smack.
And the French onion soup.
Soup.
The food's so good.
Yeah, everything is elite over there at Four Peaks. And you can also join us as they present. They are the presenting sponsor of our PHNX Tea Party, a Suns watch party / golf tournament / fun fucking time. That's all you need to know. Bring the kids. It's fun for the whole family. Free kids clinic for any kid 10 and under. It's basically we're playing at Top Golf essentially over there at Dobson Ranch. Their new layout is phenomenal. They use the Top Tracer Pro. It's amazing. All the vendors will be out there. We'll be selling merch. There will be contests and prizes, putt, 3-point contest. It's going to be insane. So come out, have a good time, watch the games, and get your tickets now. All right. Let's talk about Tom Brady. Okay. A lot of chatter out there. He's been through it this year. Not the greatest of years for good old Tommy. Your overall impression of his performance this year versus what you expected him to perform at this year?
Look, there's clearly been a step back. There are some throws that he needs to make that he's not making anymore, and you're seeing the effects of his age finally. But I also think a lot of it is on the play calling. I think his receiver, the 1 and 2 touch of Godwin and Evans should be so much better than it is. And for whatever reason, whether they're getting older or the injuries, they can't separate anymore. And Tom Brady, when they are driving, it's because of Tom Brady. It's not in spite of him. He's fitting throws into tight windows. He still shows flashes of that Super Bowl winning dominant teams with the Patriots. I definitely think we're seeing a step back, but I also think a lot of it is play calling.
Well, be careful because Byron Leftwich may end up in Arizona because he and Adrian Wilson
he will not.
are best friends.
He will not.
I'm just saying.
Oh boy.
Hey, let's make a quick note here. Bruce Arians officially underrated. Tom Brady is finding that out now. He wanted the control.
Yes.
He wanted the power. You got it. And look at this. Your offense is horseshit. And I love Todd Bowles. He's going to be the scapegoat. I feel like they're going to have to pivot off of Todd, which I absolutely hate to see because Todd Bowles' defense has been really good this year.
Yeah, it's great.
But Tom is not holding up his end of the bargain. And a lot of it, I don't care what you say. You have marital problems, off the field problems that linger into the season where you have to take months off or weeks off at a time during training camp. Like, that doesn't help anybody. Also, Gronk retiring is a big deal. That he was very dependent on Rob Gronkowski under the middle. They haven't found a serviceable tight end to replace him. But I think at the end of the day, Byron Leftwich, in my opinion, got bad advice. There were people who told him, despite the fact that Trent Baalke was still the GM in Jacksonville, they said, go to Jacksonville, work with Trevor Lawrence. He didn't. He said, I'm going to stay with Tom and company in Tampa. Terrible career move. It's unfortunate because I don't think Byron's as bad as this is.
Yeah,
it's weird. Like Bruce Arians leaves the Cardinals organization, and the GM doesn't make that great of moves afterwards, and then he leaves the Tampa Bay Buccaneers organization, and Jason Light, who worked with the Cardinals as well, isn't making that great of moves. Like Bruce Arians, I think, has his hand in a lot of different areas for whatever organization he works for, and the Bucs are suffering from it. Even though he tries to put his coaches that he has so much respect for, and you have to appreciate BA for doing this, trying to get these guys these big time jobs. But like Light falling short, Bowles is falling short, Leftwich is falling short, and they're just not in a good spot right now. Like Tampa Bay. I can't believe that even after their Super Bowl, they're like, let's just bring everybody back and just run it back. Like, how often do we see that in a cap league in the NFL?
They felt like in this division they could cruise.
I guess.
But everybody except for that offensive line.
Yeah.
And that's a huge problem. Alex Kappa's been terrible.
This might be the last time you get a chance to see Tom Brady.
What's the over-under? 0.5 years on Tom Brady's career. Over-under.
I think he retires.
I think he retires.
After
in
this.
my opinion, yeah.
After
I think he
wins the
retires.
Super Bowl.
Oh my god. He probably will find he probably will find a way
It's
to win the
happening.
Super Bowl.
I like
this year.
that.
This is going to be the turning point for Tom Brady is this game.
But
It's a get right.
listen, when you know a legend is coming to town, you got to take advantage. You can take advantage by using the Game Time app. See Tom Brady in his last game, probably ever here in State Farm Stadium, unless he makes it to the Super Bowl. So
Can
who
I
knows?
sell my press pass on the Game Time app?
Last game against the Arizona Cardinals for sure.
Yes, last game against the Arizona Cardinals for sure. You can save up to 60%. Wait until the last minute to buy those tickets tonight. If you're already at the game, now's a great time. Hit that button. Try and get the link is on our show notes and save yourself up to 60%. Right now, tickets as low as $40, and they're trickling down as we speak. Take advantage of that. Also, our fantastic friends at the DraftKings Sportsbook app, they give you everything you need to know to make some money, and they even hook you up on that side, in-game, same-game parlays, things of that nature. Obviously, easy, fast payouts, recent bets you've made, how much money you've already won. I've won $500 this year so far. A lot of scratch, but then I blew it all on this hoodie and stuff from GoPHNX.com.
Not that expensive.
So it's phenomenal. Take advantage. I bought $500 worth of gear. I just like to reinvest in you guys. So download their DraftKings Sportsbook app right now using code PHNX. Place a $5 bet on any NFL game team to win their game and get $150 in free bets. If they do, only at the DraftKings Sportsbook app with promo code PHNX. Remember, all minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
I might break my phone tonight by smashing a bet so hard if the Cardinals return a kickoff to start the game. Money line. Give me Bucks money line all the way. all the way to
Okay.
break my
All right.
phone.
They don't play with a lot of leads though.
Tap that app. Let's go. Let's get this show over with because we're almost there. It's almost game time. All right. Our props, our locks, and our drafts, fellas. We got to whip around this really quick. Let's give me your prop there, Bo.
I'm going to go with Leonard Fournette. I'm going to take the over for a prop, 40.5 rushing yards. I think that's easy. The Cardinals defense has been putrid against the run. Give me not playoff Lenny, but Christmas night Lenny.
Yeah, I'm going to go under with Trace McSorley's passing props because it's terrible as it is. Under a half a touchdown, minus 215. I don't think Trace McSorley finds anything close to the end zone.
Rashad White, come home, baby. Let's get a tutty.
Ooh, I like that one.
I got a Rashad White anytime touchdown score right now, plus 155. That's my prop. What's yours?
I agree.
Good to go.
Yeah, that's
all right.
mine as well.
What's your lock?
My lock is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers teased up.
Ooh.
Give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers minus 10 points.
Wow.
Ooh.
I'm not as bold. I'll take the 7.5. I'll say that they cover 7.5, and I'll just watch the game more comfortably.
I like the under 40.5. It's not because I don't think Tampa's going to get theirs, but this screams like 27-7, something like that. I think Todd Bowles is going to be out for blood, and he loves this franchise, but he's going to put on a show. And the Cardinals don't have the horses. Trace McSorley was throwing to wide open Bronco defenders last week, guys. Just let's use our better judgment. Let's go the under today.
I got the under on passing touchdowns by Trace McSorley. It's at 0.5 right now at plus 155, and I like that under. I don't think he's going to throw a touchdown. If they're going to score a touchdown today, it'll either be defensive or it'll be in the running game. I don't believe it'll be via the air. That's my lock. Drops, guys, go.
Drops. I'm staying away from the total just because I don't have confidence in the Cardinals' offense. But they could probably put up enough points. 40.5, did you say? Yeah. I'm just staying away from it. I like to root for overs too.
Yeah, I love D-Hop. I'm not touching any DeAndre Hopkins props today because it's out of his control. I feel bad for people that have to play him in fantasy.
I'm one of those guys. D-Hop, I need you. I don't care. I don't care if you just take the ball out of McSorley's hand and run just all over the fucking field. Make it happen. I'm not touching any of this. I'd rather not touch any of the game, but what I will not touch is any of the passing yard totals for Trace McSorley. Just stay away from it. I will take the first Arizona Cardinals drive result as a punt, though.
Of that.
Ooh, that's great.
I'm staying away from anything James Conner. They can plug out the middle real fast, this Buccaneers defense, but they're going to run them so much, I feel like, today. It's 69.5 is the total right now. I'm just staying away.
Folks, that's the go to gophnx.com. Enjoy all this swag that we have. Become a diehard. Be one of us. It's a phenomenal time right now. 20% discounts on just about every single thing. Merch, events. You get hookups from all our favorite vendors. OG's has got a deal. Four Peaks has got a deal. Like, we hook you up by you investing in us. We invest in you. It's a beautiful partnership. That's how this works. So go to gophnx.com, become a diehard, and read the fantastic articles that the one and only Howard Balzer puts out there as well. It's a phenomenal time. Join these guys at halftime and the post-game show for PHNX Cardinals as the Cardinals take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here on Christmas night. Hope you had a beautiful day, people. Hope you got all the presents and all the family enjoyment that you could. It's now time to sit down on the couch, relax, drink all the beer you can, and try to forget this game that's about to happen. For Bo, for Johnny, for Shane, and myself, I'm Saul. We'll see you next time. Merry Christmas, everyone.